What's up, gang? It's your boy Tyler, and thank you for watching the most trash show on YouTube, Garage Goons. Now today, I made a video before about what it takes to be a fighter, what you go through, that kind of thing. But today I'm just going to talk about why I fight. I have a fight coming up November 30th. It's in Glendale. It's a kickboxing match. I fought last December in Muay Thai, but this time it's going to be kickboxing, so it's still, punches and kicks, but I'm not 100% clear on the rules as far as sweeping and things of that nature, but my understanding is there is no clinch, and actually I think that works better for my style, to be honest. I like the clinch and I like working knees, but I like to fight at range when I can, and I like to box, and I don't like to be tied up if I'm piecing somebody up. So, but why I fight? The reason has changed. Back in like 2012 and 2010, I think, were my two amateur MMA fights. The answer was very different than it is today. But today, I think I fight to prove to myself that I'm still an apex predator among men. You know what I mean? As far as being able to protect my family with my hands. I'm not stupid. I know people have guns. I'm one of them. But I live in California, which is not a state that they're just throwing out CCWs, left and right. So I have that for home protection, but I don't just walk around with it out on the streets. But I have a 5-month-old daughter, and I have a wife, and so it's all women in my household except for me. And I want them to know and feel like they are protected, and I want them to know and feel that they are with someone who is capable. A lot of guys go to the gym and put on all this muscle and all this stuff, and a lot of that to me is like posturing. Like, if you look big and scary, people won't mess with you, and that's largely true. And there is something, there's science behind, physics and mass. Like, at some point, you could be so big that like you can win fights because of that. But the average guy that lifts and stuff like that looks good in the mirror, can't fight. Most guys can't fight. I would say 95 to 90, somewhere between like 95 and 99% of dudes cannot fight. And I should preface that by saying cannot fight well. So I just want to be an example, because my daughter's obviously too young to remember any of this, that 10, 15 years from now, she has these YouTube videos and pictures and everything to reference to what daddy did. Because if the old saying is, if you have a good relationship with your daughters, they look for their dads when they're dating. You know what I mean? They look for characteristics that their dads had. So I want to exemplify that, and I want her to know that daddy got a house before 30, no cosigner. I want her to know that daddy was fighting and beating up 20 something year olds when he was 36. I want her to know these things. And I also am a coach, so I feel like I carry the responsibility, while I still can, of showing my guys, my fighters, and the people that train that are maybe considering competition, that, hey, look, I'm not just a guy that has been practicing this shit for years. Like, I do this shit. It's verifiable. You can watch it. You can see it in real time. Win, lose, or draw, I go out there and put it on the line, and I dish out ass whoopings until they stop me, or until somebody knocks me out, or gets the best of me. That's fine, but I put it out there on the line for all to see, and I don't hesitate or shy away from the challenge. Everybody, the reality in fighting and challenges in life is everyone goes in scared, but some people, especially men today, are afraid to just pull the trigger, figuratively. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of guys that posture and talk and whatever, say they're gonna do a bunch of shit, and they just aren't about it. They're not about their word, and it goes so deep, so much deeper than fighting. It's just being a man of conviction, a man that's respected when you walk in the room, you know. And I don't feel like I need to fight to be that. I've already done enough, but like at this point, it's a lot of it's for the love of the game and also to show my family members and the people that look up to me or look to me as an example. I want to be a positive example of a masculine figure in my community for generations going forward, because everyone I train is younger than me. So for the most part, there's a couple of old dudes that come in, but like for the most part, everybody that's coming in the gym is in their teens or early 20s, and they want to fight. You know, a lot of guys want to fight, and I think it's important while I still can to show them that like this is what it looks like. You know, the good, the bad, and the ugly of it. You know, last time I won the fight, but my eye was fucked up for a week after. That's a part of the deal. You know what I mean? Like injuries are part of the deal. Battle wounds are a part of the deal. You know, embarrassment, the potential of embarrassment or shame or dealing with the emotions of loss is a potential part of the deal. It's all risk, right? And you do everything you can to mitigate that risk to make sure that doesn't happen. But at the end of the day, you can't control your opponent. You can only control yourself. So there's mental warfare, there's physical warfare, there's biological warfare, there's all of these different things coalescing at the same time that you need to be in synchronous with and try to have as much control over as possible. And I also feel that men that are comfortable with violence are the most rational, peaceful, reliable, respectable, and reasonable people that you will meet. Because an emotional person who's not comfortable with violence, you can't trust them. You can't trust them because when they're confronted with a situation, they're going to either cower or they're going to do something shameful, or they're going, you know, like they're not adequate men as far as protectors of their and providers for their family and their friends, or just being reliable just as a dude, you know what I mean? You don't want to lead with emotions. You want to know that you have it in your bag, and when you're capable of violence, you can de-escalate so much quicker because you're staying calm in situations. You're not getting amped up. You're not looking to necessarily throw the first punch unless you absolutely have to or someone's coming at you. And so I fight for myself, for honor. Some of it is selfish, you know what I mean? I don't want to sit here and say like I don't get any like gratification from it. I definitely do get some of that, but I'm not a type of guy that engaged in this life, in this sports. You know, Taekwondo when I was 10 through 13, and Kenpo karate when I was like 7, and you know, traditional jiu-jitsu when I was 19 through 23, and you know, and MMA 19 through 23, and now Muay Thai, you know, 2020 through 2025 now. You know, so I just want to go out there and prove myself, and it's probably going to be the last time for a while. You know, I'm 36 and they make you jump through all kinds of hoops when you're 40, so I'm not going to say it's my last time, but it's probably my last time for a while. Definitely want to get a couple more in, maybe before I'm 40, but we'll see what the future holds. My number one priority is to be a good father and a good husband, obviously, and a good family man and a good provider and someone who spends a lot of time with his wife and his child. But also, like I said, I don't ever want to be just the fat, lazy dad that's just home all the time, because you know that breeds problems in its own right. You know what I mean? So I want to be well-rounded, and like I said, just an example for the community and my family and my daughter's future husband. So she knows not to look for a coward and someone that can provide for her better than I can, hopefully, and that can protect her better than I can, hopefully. And I'm setting a high bar, and that's intentional because I only want the best for her. That's why I fight. Garage Goons. Let's Trash on YouTube. Like, comment, subscribe, tell your friends, tell your homies. Stay tuned. There's going to be more videos, obviously, after I fight November 30th. That will be up on YouTube shortly after. But win, lose, or draw, I'm going out there to knock heads off, baby. So this time, let's get a fucking knockout. All right? And we are out of this bitch.